Rojas started his career in banking since 2007, and since then, he has helped families achieve their financial goals. As a first-generation Hispanic, he have a different perspective on what obstacles some families may face. Some of those obstacles are education and transparency. Once he started his focus in real estate, it's been more obvious on the lack of information that is out there. Working in major corporations since 2007, President Rojas can attest that having a diverse team help future home buyers achieve their dream. Understanding the needs of the community and assisting on those needs can be very fruitful. A diverse team can help the communities in need and allow those communities to grow. Hear, hear. Let's help me in welcoming President Luis Rojas.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to say, I wrote that in like 30 seconds and she made it sound really professional. Good job on that. But yes, I'm Luis Rojas. I have been in banking since 2007. So I have a little bit more of a background of just real estate, so I can speak on different aspects of it. So I'll break myself down first. I've been in banking since 2007. I was a financial advisor, currently a loan officer for Fulton Mortgage. And I would say that in our community, the Latin community, there is also a lack of education and correct knowledge and correct information out there. Because everybody has an uncle or a family member that bought a house in 2099, but it's not the same process as it is today. Also, I want to educate all of our team members and coworkers that there is unfortunately a lot of aggressive lending out there where sometimes the Spanish community are taken advantage of. You know, they don't understand what are points or what are costs or what is this. And they don't understand that there's different programs and opportunities for them to achieve that goal at a cheaper cost. So that has always been my goal. You know, my parents came here, my father came from Peru and got taken advantage of a predatory loan back in the early 80s. And he didn't understand, but he learned himself how. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that benefit. Fortunately, people did lose houses. So the education is very big to me. That's just me who is a person. I'm also the president of the NAHREP South Jersey chapter currently. Fortunately, my president-elect isn't here. He's in Miami. We actually have our conference in about 12 hours, no, 8 hours. And we, as an organization, promote the same thing: transparency, access to credit. And we have a political side to us where we fight to make sure that all Hispanics are treated correctly and fairly. You know, at one point it was kind of like, I don't know if anybody else has gotten that, but I'm not Mexican. But I think a lot of people think that Puerto Rico or Peru is in Mexico. So I just want everybody to know, 2 different countries. Puerto Rico is in the Caribbean. So yeah, but I'm also half Puerto Rican, half Peruvian. I have a different perspective of Caribbean Spanish and South American Spanish. So it's not the same thing. I'm gonna tell you that. The food is completely different. You can't say which one's better, but the organization itself also collects a lot of information on Hispanic wealth, how we're going to build wealth for future generations. And I would say that we, on our website, we actually have a lot of links where you can see the homeowner buyership program of Hispanic people. You can see the Hispanic Wealth Project of what we're doing to build our wealth for generations. And you will also see that we take a lot of self-surveys where you can see a lot of our members, since they are in real estate, are more educated and have more assets than people that don't. So we need to spread that information. And that's been the goal of our chapter and in our organization. I think I'm at my 9-minute mark, but you know,
No, it's not.
I'm not? Oh, she's at 3 minutes?
Tell us about Peru.
Tell us about Peru. The food is amazing. I can't tell my mother that because she's Puerto Rican.
Why did you join the organization? Why did you join the organization?
I actually was voluntold into the organization. They needed a well-spoken Spanish guy, and I felt like it was the affirmative action within the affirmative action. So it was a opportunity because I grew as a lender. I was able to expand my network, and I got to meet Roux in Philly. I don't know, without this organization, I would have met someone who's awesome in Philly. So I think this organization helps us know each other. You know, I don't want to be on the other end where a listing agent or a buying agent is having issues because they don't know who I am, but they get to see who I am. You know, they get to understand how I work and what I represent. Because I don't know if anybody that's a realtor in the office, have you ever got a clear to close that wasn't clear to close? Yeah, see, the people that are laughing here understand that. What do you mean we can't close today? That's one thing I always wanted to present as a person of character and principle, is to make sure that we take our clients to the end and make sure they close the day they're supposed to close. Our organization started in San Diego by two Mexican people, and they've expanded over, I don't want to say 25 states. We're 40,000 members strong. We're growing in New Jersey. Our oldest chapter in New Jersey is North Jersey chapter, which is closer to New York, and they've had a 26 successful year. And compared to them, I'm 5 years old. But we noticed that, I don't know in Pennsylvania too well, but different sides of the state act like different states. So
Yeah.
North Jersey acts like New York, South Jersey acts like Philadelphia. And I'm a Giants fan. But I don't know what it is. All right, I can cut my time now. But I forgot where I was going with this. But I want to say about the organization itself, it is good. It's a wealth of knowledge, and it helps even for new realtors to get known and be accustomed to different type of styles. But I would also say within my chapter, I also have diversity. I just don't have Spanish people. Because as this team would know, is sometimes having a diversity makes you more successful. Sometimes I could collaborate with Rose about certain things, and she would think differently than how I would think. And then I would like, well, that sounds better. Fortunately enough that I have a diverse team that they tell me, no, you're wrong. And they have no problem telling me I'm wrong, but it's great because it's a collaboration. It's a commerce of ideas of where we can excel better and be better. And it's not just for our chapter and our organization, but us as people. I don't know how much more time I have left, but I'm kind of running out of gas here.
Okay, let's switch to Q&A.
All right.
So that way, anybody has a question,
Sure.
raise your hand. Where are you based?
Where am I based personally? So I live in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, which is Middlesex County. So for me, it was just a drive across state of New Jersey. But I work all over New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. So I have amazing friends and like Roux. So that's where I'm based currently.
Anybody on Zoom has a question for President Rojas?
Real quick, it's business. Well, my name is Ahmed Islam. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Just off topic, I want to connect with you, President Rojas, because I've been licensed in Jersey for about a year, and I'm not with any association whatsoever. So I want to do that.
I mean, there's a great chapter in South Jersey. You know, you can sign up for NAHREP. We can definitely introduce you. We do have good events. I think Rose went to our last one. We promote education. You know, people think the Hispanic culture is all about partying, which I mean, I'm not going to say no, but what I want to say is education is key, and it's always been fundamental of us as people to be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, connect with me. I'm sure Rose can share my information out or whoever, and I would love to assist you in any which way I can.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? You're still good?
I'm still
Yes, you have 2 minutes in your time slot.
So what do you?
Anybody else have a question? Oh, Darlene?
She's just ignoring me.
That's what it is.
So what do you find most impactful or that you need to focus most on as far as getting Hispanics into housing?
It's good. Proper communication and transparency is kind of what is key, because there's a lot, like I've said before, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and unfortunately people gravitate to things they want to hear, right? Not what it has to be done. So it's kind of being consistent with every one of our buyers, clients. Like I teach first-time home buyer classes, and they say, oh, my friend says I can buy a house with no money down. I was like, all right, cool. Where's your friend? Like, But it's honestly not everybody's gonna fit the same criteria, because there's different programs for different people. So you will need to have an experienced realtor, an experienced loan officer to get that person through. And where I am in New Jersey, you need an experienced attorney, because we practice with closing attorneys. So I've had the benefit of understanding their point of view on the real estate transaction. You know, the I-10, or just bring that up, I-10 programs are great to get people in the houses. But she was telling me there's a risk if that person gets deported. And there's a huge paperwork that she would have to do. So, I would say, and it's probably plug out to my girlfriend, who's a real estate attorney, Alejandra Gutierrez. She's shared with me that, it's not always transparent. We want to get people into houses, but we need to make sure they're prepared for what can happen. You know, job loss, deportation, or you know, maybe they want to buy another house or they want to go to family.
And I think that the main obstacle is that there is not an immigration permit, because I know a lot of people who has the resources, but they didn't immigrate legally here. So they're like in a limbo, and they're not going to put all the money in something. So really is immigration is the biggest obstacle.
Right.
We haven't had an immigration reform in so long.
Right, I mean, the political side of it, whatever
Yes.
aisle you sit on, either way, we have people investing money in our country. So either way, they have to find a way of being protected, because if they're buying a house, they're helping stimulate their local community.
Yeah.
You know, the property taxes, as everybody knows, goes to the schools, it goes to firefighters, it goes to police officers. So there has to be something to be done. Or I would 1000% believe that something needs to be done. But
And another thing that I found that is an obstacle is that I practice real estate in Texas, and in Texas, all the contracts and all the forms are in Spanish. I mean, even if you sign just all the documents in English, but they have the opportunity. And it doesn't matter where the family is coming from, but a lot of the misinformation, even if they have education in the country they're coming from, is that the legal figure that is in the contract doesn't exist in the country they're coming from. Right. So there is not a translation of what they're doing.
right, so this is going back to experienced loan officers. So like in my company, we do all docs in Spanish. So my clients can see from beginning to end that is Spanish, but recording in the state of New Jersey has to be in English. But at least they get a copy of everything in Spanish. So there's certain verbiage, and you are correct, that doesn't translate right. And then they were like, what does this mean? And I even have to Google, oh, what does this mean? But I would say that, you know, it's still new, because I know in Texas I know Texas they have it. I know New Jersey, we were on the phone with, can't remember their name, but they were the ones that helped with the e-forms for all your contracts, how to do it in Spanish. So they're actually coming to us and collaborating with us. So it's gonna take time. It's not something we can do over there, because I know for a fact, my mother's Spanish is different from my father's Spanish. And they can be two different things,
Yes.
but they speak Spanish. So I learned that the hard way. My girlfriend's Colombian. I don't understand half of the things she's saying. I have to Google it. She's like, you're this. I'm like, all right, are you cursing at me or? But granted,
No, I have a different opinion. I think that Spanish is one language.
right,
And if the people has education, if everything comes from, because there is a dictionary, I mean,
Right.
the Diccionario de la Real Academia
Right.
Española, that is, what it changes is the slang. And the slang
right,
is what the popular, the people who has less education
Right.
speaks. But the Spanish is supposed to be the same, I mean, it's.
but
read it and you read it.
unfortunately, the people that are well off in those countries stay in those countries.
Yeah.
And the people that come over here look for a better opportunity. A lot of them don't
Right.
have the
You know,
education.
I tend to disagree now. I think that Bucks County especially is coming with a lot of people from all these countries that they're working in pharmaceutical companies and really high education, because the politics in South America. I found that all the wealthy families that can now immigrate from Colombia and the ones who could immigrate from Venezuela, they did it. And they came with resources.
Right, but
So now I'm seeing an influence of
Right.
people with resources and high education, sometimes master's degree or doctorates, that are coming to this area.
I mean, that may be so for Bucks County, but holistically, if you look at the entire country, I work a lot in the Bronx, New York, and in Middlesex County. It's completely different. Because like I said, I know for a fact that usually my family that does well off in Puerto Rico, they tend to stay in Puerto Rico. My mother came over here for a better opportunity and everything like that. So I would say Bucks County, maybe, I don't know. I've done some deals in New Hope. Everything could be different. But I would say we have to take it more holistic because this is going back to the not one shoe fits all. So maybe we have to find another way of doing it and being more transparent with people.
Okay, it's almost time, but however, last thoughts in terms of you're here, but however, your chapter is South Jersey. Give us a pitch on why Pennsylvania Realtors should join your association.
So the association is always growing. At one point, there was a Philadelphia chapter, but what I would say to join my chapter, if you want to open up a Bucks County chapter or a Philadelphia chapter, is to understand the dynamics of how the organization works. Because not all organizations are going to run the same. NAHREP works as a corporate setting because it's nationwide. They want to make sure they're transparent with each one of their states, regardless of where you're at. So what I would say is if you really want to make an impactful in your community in Philadelphia, Bucks County, you would need to learn from an actual chapter you're close by and understand the dynamics. So I would say you can join South Jersey, you can join a chapter if it's closer to you. But if you join South Jersey, I can tell you my chapter for a fact is will give you honesty, transparency, and education.
Thank you. Very good. So I hand over the mic to my co-chair, Ms. Darlene Meekins.
Hi, welcome everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing Heidi Roux. She immigrated to the U.S. during the Civil War in her home country of El Salvador. She grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, so she's probably someone after my own heart because I had friends there in the D.C. area from El Salvador. And she became a U.S. citizen after the age of 18. She received her Bachelor's of Science degree in marketing from George Mason University. My daughter went there. She cried because she was on the waiting list. I'm like, they didn't turn you down. You may still get in, but so she loved it. So another thing in common we have. And she began working in market research. She went on to obtain her master's in business administration from Northern Arizona University, during which she explored social entrepreneurship and the importance of nonprofit work. She met and married her husband, Miles Roux, and began working in the nonprofit field. After relocating back to the East Coast, she became Director of Services for a large nonprofit, the Latin American Community Center in Wilmington, Delaware, where she oversaw 8 programs and a department of 22 staff members. So I'm sure they kept her busy. When Miles and Heidi decided to have a son, Gus, they settled down in Doylestown. Doylestown, PA. Heidi began volunteering for Immigrant Rights Action and is now its first paid executive director. Heidi's experience as an immigrant, along with her desire to uplift others, fuels her passion and dedication to her work. Heidi and her husband Miles enjoyed living in a small farm setting. I garden, so Heidi, we'll have to get together. So a small farm setting and their school age son. Heidi is a volunteer administrator for the Bucks County Anti-Racism Coalition and continues to volunteer for the Bucks County Book Fest. And if you have any other time, Heidi, you can volunteer for the DEI committee. So welcome, Ms. Heidi Roux.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm going to start my timer so I can get Ahead of
Oh, Rose
Rose.
already done.
I want to thank you all for having me, and I want to thank Sue Ann DeVito, who I know wasn't here today, but she's actually one of our founding members of Immigrant Rights Action. And here's how we got started. It was 2017, and there was an ICE raid in Doylestown at one of the restaurants, and a group of women came together from the community, social justice warriors, and they pooled their funds and crowdsourced to obtain legal representation for the gentleman that had been detained. So we carry on that legacy today because our core service is still breaking the barriers to legal immigration access that many immigrants have here in Bucks County. So every month we host a legal clinic where we offer free legal consultation with an immigration attorney in our office in Doylestown. So number one, that breaks the barrier of having to go down to Philadelphia. And number two, it gives them a free consultation, which usually runs $150 to $200. So because as a result of these consultations, someone can see, oh my goodness, I have this path identified now toward regularizing my status. And I can then, begin that journey with an immigration attorney to become able to stay here in the States with documentation, which is huge.
Yes.
Now, the other part, which is still huge, is the attorney can identify those that may not at this time, laws being as they are today, have a path toward regularization of status. But what does that do? That empowers someone to know, without having to pay the $200 to find out, that right now as is, you don't have a path toward regularization of your immigration status. But here are your rights as a human being, in this nation, and we give them a know your rights training and remind them that they are not alone. That there are 11 million other undocumented folks across the United States, and that here in Bucks County, we are still here to help connect them to resources that are available to them, like the Ann Silverman Free Health Clinic. We can still help register children in school, connect them with any other types of services that are available. Now, what I wanted to focus on telling you today is a program that we have recently launched, which is our ITIN program. So earlier, someone mentioned ITIN, and that's the individual taxpayer identification number. So there are benefits to applying for and obtaining an ITIN. One being, able to be on a path toward home ownership. A lot of our immigrants, and I'm finding here in Bucks County, because yes, we speak Spanish at our office. I'm from El Salvador. I'm going to introduce my coworker hopefully toward the end if I don't talk too much. But Angie's from Colombia. And so we speak Spanish in our office, but what we have found in this last year, particularly this last year and a half, is Bucks County is a global community. We have a lot of people relocating from Ukraine, from Russia, from Georgia. Someone brought up Georgia earlier. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. I mean, we are global. And being able to meet the needs of all immigrants, and hoping to, this is not something we do now, we just have the ITIN program, but I would love to expand to be able to, educate and the importance of the misinformation that's out there and the predatory type of services that are out there. That knowledge is power for them. And that is the way that they're going to be able to build wealth and really integrate into Bucks County. You know, many are unbanked. There's a fear of financial institutions from whatever home country because of, you know, that's just a reality. There's may or may not be low financial literacy. Even if there is high financial literacy, it's different here. You know, it's not in the same language, not just language, but the same wording and the literacy levels and the words, you know, translating the words. It's all misinformation. It all can lead to misinformation and to missed opportunities for families. So that's something that, you know, we barely touch on, but we do now have this ITIN program that can help with that. Now, beyond that, we also have, you know, we do resources, resource connections. So we have anyone from a recent arrival from another country coming through our office that needs, you know, access to healthcare, or that needs assistance with their children being enrolled in school. In August alone, we enrolled 51 children in school, and that's across Bucks County, across school districts. So talk about education access, you know, but the healthcare access, and we're focusing on mental health in particular, because who is walking through our doors? You know, a lot of them have been impacted by the geopolitical climate that we live in today. And so we want to make sure they have access to wellness, and to just know their rights in the community, to know what's available to them, because this is what's going to help them thrive, to be able to then, you know, get through your doors, right? Because that's the pipeline that we want to see. We want down the road to be able to just be a little supportive part in that step toward just finding a home, right? Like they are here because they're creating a new home. Just like I came, I was young, my parents came, you know, and I have to say that this is what immigration looks like. It's me, it's my story, it's me sharing that, and I think it's important to change the narrative of what we think immigration might be, because it's a lot of things. So we have a postcard of our services. I have 2 minutes left, sorry. I have 2 minutes left, but this is a postcard of our services, in English, Spanish, and Ukrainian. It was printed when we had an influx of Ukrainians. We received more Ukrainians in Bucks County than they did in Philadelphia. So we're putting this in Russian now because we're receiving a lot of clients from different countries, and Russian seems to be the common language. So I have those, I have our cards, and I have a list if you want to put your name and email address so we can add you to our newsletter. We have expanded our resources down to Lower Bucks and are doing these resource clinics in Levittown and Morrisville in collaboration with a small group, very active volunteers from the Bucks County Interfaith Refugee Resettlement Coalition. Wow. But it's been a wonderful collaboration. So if you you know, are interested in connecting us with other, what we hope to do this next year is to continue collaborating, because Angie and I cannot do this work alone. And the need is there, the need is great, and the need is growing. I think I have 2 minutes left. Oh, I don't, I have 37 seconds left.
Good job.
Thank you, Rojas.
Do you know how many different nations and ethnicities are you helping in this?
So I can tell you what we're doing now. We have a volunteer, he's an artist, and he's agreed today, this morning, he agreed to make a big canvas world map for us.
Oh.
And we're gonna start tacking because we have definitely
Yes, yeah.
expanded, sorry, that's my
Your
stuff.
time,
My
stop
time.
speaking.
And you did not let your partner speak, so
I did,
I'm
I'm
hoping
sorry.
you'll give her a few minutes.
I'll let her answer some questions, but I can tell you in the time that I've been volunteering here, and specifically in the last couple of months, we have, families from, Russia and Uzbekistan and Ecuador, Turkey, Ecuador, and Colombia is the uptick that we're seeing in these last months.
Wow, so interesting.
Yeah, it is, it's fascinating
And it's going to be really good to have that graphic.
and, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
No, I had a client from Uzbekistan and spent a lot of time just trying to translate, ending up talking to the teenagers more so than the grandparents and the parents. Like, it's a interesting dynamic. Like, I don't mind talking to friends, family, whoever's coming, okay, we're all in this together. I know some agents do, and I generally have the patience. Now, I just had one that I closed that I had to call on, the Lord. But I made it through. I'm like, if I can get through this, I can do anything in real estate. So it's interesting working with immigrants. I'm wondering if you worked, with any Africans from any of the nations also.
I can tell you because I got a call from someone in Quakertown, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And then so they are few and far between. And here in Bucks County that we've gotten in touch with. But some of the countries, Algeria,
Liberia.
Actually, a lot of Liberians.
yes, yes, and Cameroon. And a lot, the common language there seems to be French. So we call on like our French speaking volunteers to help us, to help to help them. Yeah, so we definitely like
Spread
reach
the love
out.
around.
How about Haiti? Do you have Haitian?
Yes, in Lower Bucks, there has been an influx, particularly in the Chamonix School District. We helped register, I think it was 3 or 4 children, from Haiti.
When I was teaching in Philadelphia, my last couple of years, there was a large influx of Haitian students coming to the district.
Yeah.
They made fun of mine, because I speak French, but it's not there, so they would make fun. We had-
But in a pinch, you know, but in a pinch, it's.
Absolutely, yeah, we
helpful.
could
Yeah.
communicate, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so helpful, and language
Exactly.
volunteers are very much always.
Yeah.
Language volunteers are always welcome at our office.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to do it without.
Thank you, Heidi. Is there anyone, on the screen who has any questions for Heidi? Anyone? No? All right, let's wrap up. We're gonna continue our agenda, but it includes you guys too, so you can stay, welcome to stay.